We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Swinging a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup for the lead. Yes! Iverson, wow, what a fake off Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
What up?
What up? Hey, Joe. What? What's going on, boys?
Oh, listen, I feel like Howie, you're a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard.
You're a wizard,
You're a
Howie.
wizard.
You're a wizard.
You're a wizard.
He
did.
was
He was on
on
fire.
a heater.
He was
Just
on
like
fire.
on a wild heater, man. And the only thing I thought about when all this shit was going down this weekend and the way that he sat, navigated, popped up and down, went up and down in and out of the draft. It felt like the kid that like shows up at the lunch table with like a bologna sandwich
Yeah.
and walked away with like 3 Lunchables and a
Snack
Coke
pack.
and a snack pack.
He's the
Like-
kid who traded the banana for the snack pack. Don't ask how it got done, but he made it happen.
I mean, really, like the way that draft played. I mean, listen, we'll go over the draft in a little bit, but the way that it played out could not have played out better for
No.
what their needs were and you know what they were able to get, what they didn't have to give up.
Yeah.
It just you feel like they addressed the position of need with 2 guys, obviously, that I think everybody would have been okay with at 22, and you get both of them. So, yeah, we'll just start right at the top, right? They sit at 22, and the wild part for me was the run of quarterbacks that you had. The
6
fact
in the
that
top 12.
the fact that Bo Nix,
Bo Nix, baby. Bo Nix.
the guy who played 67 years of college football at at a couple of different schools,
Yeah.
goes number 12, and Michael Penix goes to Atlanta, which that makes no fucking sense at all.
It was a great pick. It was a great pick.
I mean, listen, every time one of those quarterbacks went, I'm like, great. It just kept pushing the quality players that were in positions of need further and further and further down, to the point where I think they had it played out a little bit differently. I think they might have traded up into the teens to try to get Quinyon Mitchell, which they obviously had their eye on, because they had their pick when 22 rolls around. You had your pick. You had there were no DBs taken. So that was the guy that was number 1 on the board. Talk to me about this kid, because this kid seems like we got a future 1A outside corner.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't believe it. I mean, we talked about it. Everybody talked about it. He's not staying at 22. He's going to have to move up a couple spots, or he might have to move up, multiple spots to secure him. What really helped us was the Broncos they were so sold on Bo Nix, and they didn't want to, because we tried. That's who we call it. We tried to move up with Denver to take the 12, to probably take him at 12, but Denver didn't want to bite. And then the way that the draft board slid, hey man, we made out great, but we talked about it, Don, you and I. And I was a little apprehensive, because of Mitchell playing from a small school. But his body of work, his speed, his coverage. The guy has done it his whole college career. You look at Nick Saban talking about him, how he tried to get him into the transfer portal. What does that say? He sees a kid playing at a MAC school and dominating the league and just being a shutdown guy, the guy, and he wanted to get him over in Alabama. So the guy that in itself, that speaks for itself. So he's got the size, he's got all the intangibles, the size, the speed. He can play really any kind of defense, but all he's done is be the best. Everybody had him at 1 or 1A on the board. So to get him at 22 is a freaking steal.
Yeah, I think Joe, to talk about the Saban story, obviously, is the one that everybody's talking about. With him trying to say like he was the number one guy for us in the transfer portal, and then what that speaks to the dedication and the loyalty, and speaks volumes of the guy, of the type of player that is going to, train beyond train to be able to be prepared, because he feels like he owes the program that gave him a chance when no one else had a chance. And I was listening to an interview with the coach from Toledo, and the day after his visit with the Eagles, he was at Toledo doing the spring workout with the team that 6 a.m. that next morning. That to me speaks volumes of the guy that you're getting, and to know that you're getting a guy that had top of the draft talent, and also now has a chip on his shoulder because he's pissed that he went at 22.
Mm-hmm. It was one of those situations. It was like an unfortunate, happy mistake, because you had teams who were just quarterback hungry, and they're just could not wait. They had to draft these guys, and I love it. It makes me laugh all the time when I watch the draft. There always has to be that push for quarterbacks, even if they're not that good, which 4 out of the 6 are crapshoots that got drafted in the top 12. Bo Nix going 12 was absolutely ridiculous, but it's the league. Wow. It shows you the league that you're in today. It is offensive centered. So you had a run of wide receivers go. I think he was the first defensive player taken, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The first defensive player taken. And this guy could have been a top 5 pick if teams weren't in such a need for wide receiver or quarterback.
Yep.
I love it. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds. Like the stat I'm looking at is in 2023, 1 pass deflection and 1 interception. Like they didn't throw to his side. Teams game planned away from him because he was that good. Yeah. And then you had him go to the Senior Bowl and just lock everybody up. And you already know the Eagles are big Senior Bowl guys. They always have been, going back to Andy. Like when you're locking up the best in college football, these guys who got drafted 4 and 6 and whatever, Duzier, I think it was 9 that these guys got drafted. Like you're locking these guys up, and these guys are more talented prospects than you? I don't think so. So he's going to come in with that chip. He's got that killer mentality, and he is most likely going to be starting alongside Slay. I don't see Bradbury cracking it. I think you're going to see him as that 1B, and then next year be that one, or the following year be that 1A guy. He is going to be your lockdown, shutdown corner. His talent speaks volumes for himself.
You see the comments coming out from Slay, right? The idea that he should want to take my job. He should, that's and if that's the mentality that he's coming in with, you gotta love where that puts him in terms of you want him to be the heir apparent. But Rich, it wouldn't surprise me if they see how much young talent they have in that room, and they just decide to pass on Bradbury. Like they just figure
at this
out.
Point, you have to. You have the money. Just cut him and take the dead cap hit for this year, and say fuck it. Who cares? Like it doesn't matter. You have so many young guys behind you. Vontae Maddox is going to be gone too, because I really don't think they're going to let go of Ringo or Ricks. It's most likely going to be Bradbury and Vontae Maddox. They're going to be gone. Like you just got probably the steal of the draft at number 22 because that is a lockdown number 1 corner. When do you ever get them outside the top 5? When did Jalen Ramsey get drafted? When did whatchamacallit from the Jets get drafted?
Boss, yeah.
Yeah. Like fucking Christ. They got Sauce drafted like 4th or 5th overall.
What was the stat too? No touchdowns and
437 pass attempts.
No touchdowns and no penalties?
No touchdowns, no penalties.
For the whole season.
Yeah.
That's great.
Kid's a stud. Kid's going to be good. And he's got closing speed, and he's not afraid to tackle when the ball's thrown to his side. Like, you love that. This is what you want to see from your corner. A 6-foot, 200-pound corner who runs a 4.33 or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Good closing speed. That's a big boy. Like, he looks skinny. That's a big boy. Like, when that dude is going to be running and lined up with some of the wide receivers, I like that. I like that.
When you look at what he's going to get competitively at practice.
Yeah.
You're going to get Devontae Smith and AJ Brown.
That should make you better.
Right? Like that's only going to make you better. It's that iron sharpens iron, and you think about what that's going to do to be able to elevate his play when he's getting that on a daily basis. It and the way that the rest of the draft played out, right, really did give me shades of that 20 was that the 2002 draft. Right,
yeah,
Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown,
bring him in,
right? And the way that they then navigate that second round, right? The second day they come back, and the reports come out that after the fact that they had Cooper DeJean on their mind from the time that they made the pick at 22, figuring out how do we get back into that second round, how do we get up, and then he starts to slide in the second round.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so then he's there, he's there, and they end up trading that 50 and 53. Plus there was another pick later on to move up to take Cooper DeJean, which obviously we all talked about him being a possibility at 22. The fact that you now have those two guys in-house, two guys that you feel wildly comfortable with that at some point are probably going to take over your outside. And there was a little bit of knock on Cooper DeJean for some of the playing in the Big Ten. It's not a super pass heavy conference, but you go look at the tape when they played Ohio State, and when he's lining up against Marvin Harrison Jr., when he's last year when he's playing against Jackson Smith and Jigba, he held his own.
Yeah, I mean he's probably going to play safety. They're probably going to slide him right into that safety spot. And he's one of those. He's a gadget guy. He could be our Swiss Army knife. If we need him to go to the slot, he can go to the slot. We need him to go to the outside. He's going to play multiple positions. He's probably going to be our kick and punt returner. He's going to do a lot. And the good thing is he's got that fucking attitude where he's like, put me where you want to put me. And hell yeah, I'll put my body out there. I'll make the tackle. Like, let's go. Like, the kid's ready to work. You got 2 guys coming in now, 2 rookies, highly touted cornerbacks, who are going to press your senior guys, who are going to press your old guys and Slay and Bradbury to, hey, we're right on your heels, bro. Like, it is the Bobby Taylor, Troy Vincent, Sheldon Brown, Lito Shepherd. We drafted these guys, and they're going to slide right in. And you still got Ringo and the rest of the guys. But I can't wait for that sandwich to come out. The Cooper DeJean is going to be great. It's going to be a cheesesteak. It's going to have sharp Cooper cheese, white Cooper cheese.
The Cooper Sharp.
Cooper Sharp. It's going to have some fried caramelized onions on it. Like, yo, let me get that Cooper DeJean. Let's go.
We're already hitting him up on they're already hitting him up on Twitter, X, whatever you call it.
Well, listen,
They're
the only
tweeting
way
at-
to the only way to round that meal off is with a vanilla milkshake.
Yeah, that's it. And you're around. Top it off with the vanilla milkshake. It works. It works, baby.
Yeah, I
But it's
feel like
exciting. It's so
there's
exciting.
some. It really is. It really is. And then, you know that you would have thought that like in the second, that third round, you kept waiting for the pick would come up at 78, and then it got traded, and then the pick would come up at 86, and then it got traded, and then they pick at 94, and they pick Jalix Hunt.
Jalix, what a name.
What a great name. Right now, listen.
I know
Joe,
absolutely nothing about this guy.
You and I talked last week about, well, Rich, he's from Houston Christian. He started off his career as a safety.
What?
At Cornell, was it?
Yeah.
What?
At Cornell. He played
How much did this
17
dude
games,
eat? Oh my
but he's got, he does have, Joe, something that we talked about. He's got the measurables, right? He's 6'4", 260, but he's got a huge wingspan. Definitely more of like a project guy, but
The dude was a safety at 6'4", 260?
Yeah, he's got.
Oh my
like,
God.
Like you said, Don, he has the measurables. He's just like a freak athlete.
That's
Mhm.
And I think Vic Fangio had a huge say in that pick, because he saw. I mean, he sees potential. I mean, he had 14 sacks the last 2 years, and he's nowhere near finished product. So, I mean, it's good. I think it's a good pick because this guy, nobody really knew about him, and everyone was kind of like, who's that guy? How, I don't know if he's rated, if he's rated high enough, and it wasn't a reach, this and that. But I mean, if your coordinator has been studying this guy for as long as he's been studying this guy, and
Mhm.
and put himself out there for this guy, I mean, I really think that there's going to be something there. So, you come in, I don't really know what he's going to give you year one, but I mean, even if he's a situational pass rusher, I mean, look at Nolan Smith. I mean, last year Nolan Smith was a much highly rated prospect, and he was a situational pass rusher, and he got us 1 sack. So, I mean, you get the guy in here, get him into the system, and see what he can do.
I think that's your best bet with this guy. I think your best bet with this guy is to be able to get him in the building and start working with him, right? He's, when you look at the depth chart, you're going to look at Bryce Huff and Brandon Graham and, Milton Williams and the mountain of other, Josh Sweat, the other guys that are coming off the edge. It's not, to me, reasonable that that there's any reasonable contribution this year. The most valuable thing that he can probably get this season is that practice experience.
Yeah.
But you're looking at, Brandon Graham's he's done at the end of the year, right? You don't know.
Dallas sucks.
That was awesome.
That was great. It's always Dallas sucks. Let's go.
But as far as a project guy goes, all right, I think you're gonna need younger, cheaper bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of fits that mold.
I'm with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't knock Fangio and what he sees until you get the guy in here and see what he can do, because we don't know. We just have to trust that he knows what he's doing.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, in the 4th round, they take
Danny Woodhead.
white boy Will Shipley,
Danny Woodhead.
Clemson.
Yeah. Pass catching back. Change of pace guy.
Go ahead, Rich.
No, I'm just saying it's just a pass catching back. I mean, you needed another running back on your roster. You didn't have Boston Scott. Boston Scott's gone as of today to the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
It was just him. It was just Saquon and Gainwell. So you need another camp body. So, I mean, it's a great pickup and another guy that you can use for special teams. So,
I mean, at the very least at Clemson, he's a guy that was, athletic, versatile, explosive,
Danny
catches
Woodhead.
the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Right. But also also a guy that has experience returning kicks.
Mhm.
I think there are at least 3 or 4 guys that they picked up in this draft that have some experience returning kicks.
Which is good because they
Mhm.
changed the kickoff rule. So
Right.
Yep.
you're actually going to have a chance to do it. And we all know Brenton Covey ain't it.
Yeah, right.
We all know
Yeah,
he ain't
so-
it. I mean, I love the guy. Love you, bro.
Yeah.
You ain't it. You ain't it.
But when you look at the depth the depth chart, behind Saquon Barkley and Kenny Gainwell is Will Shipley.
That's
right?
it.
So you're gonna need hit, and I don't think it's a far stretch to be able that's a position that's not nearly as difficult to be able to get contributions from
Yeah.
year one.
Yeah.
So-
He'll be in there. You'll see him. You'll probably see him a lot, especially with special teams and on pass catching downs when Saquon needs a break. I mean, yeah, good pick. Again, you needed a body, so you got one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully he can pass block.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can pass block.
Fucking
So at 152, they take Aeneas Smith, who was a wide receiver from Texas A&M.
yeah.
Now, again, here's another guy, fast, athletic, more gadget guy that's going to get you, a guy that excites me in terms of when you look at the offense that Kellen Moore is going to run.
Mhm.
And you're going to need gadget guys because you're going to have, if this is an opportunity to get him on the field for a jet sweep or, get him the ball in space, not on a fucking bubble screen.
Yeah.
But it's a guy that I think, could end up being, a return specialist. He could fit into that return specialist mold in some way. But the next pick was the one that had everybody in their feels.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Bringing
Hell
in the
yeah.
hatchet, bringing in little Jeremiah Trotter Jr. But from a standpoint of nostalgia, from a standpoint of position of need, it's a pick that kind of made sense. I think a lot of people would have been happy if they had picked him in the 3rd round, in the 4th round, and you end up getting him in the 5th round. And it's also talk about a position where it's not a huge stretch for us to be able to say that he has the potential to be on the field early in his career.
Yeah. He does, because if Nakobe Dean doesn't stay healthy, he's going to slide right in.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought everybody was saying, if we can get him in the 2nd round, if he's there, he's there. And he falls to 5. I'm like, it just shows you how fucked this draft was. Like, this draft was either full of reaches or every single offensive player in the history of college football got drafted. Like,
well, this was all Rich. This was the last year of those guys that had the extra COVID year.
Yeah. It was just so strange, though. Like, it really was. Like, I was watching it, and I'm like, shit, like, it's the 4th round. And I'm like, I keep looking. I'm like, anybody draft Trotter? And then finally, like, it goes off in the 5th round. I'm like, what the fuck happened to him being like a second round guy? But it's perfect because his dad, same type of guy, 6-time Pro Bowler, like, left, came back to the Eagles. I mean, he's been around the Eagles. He knows the culture. He's happy to be here. He's going to have a chance just off pedigree and name himself. Like, his dad, I think, was like a 6th round pick. Like, have that chip on your shoulder. Be that fucking beast. You learn from your dad, who's a pro, who's damn good at it.
Right.
I'm very confident in that pick and his abilities and his skill set. I'm just still kind of like, how the fuck did you fall to the 5th round? But
yeah, and listen, he's gonna be in a room with Devin White, right? So he's gonna be in a room with a guy that's got vet experience, and he's also obviously got the vet experience of leaning on his pop, and his pop being, he's basically gonna just come and live at home from.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I love the feel of it, but also the practicality of it makes a ton of sense. from a logistical standpoint, because you look at where this team is and where they struggled. You need a guy that's going to be athletic and, let the guys up front kind of take up the blocks. And the place where he excels the most is just running in space and making tackles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, go here you go, kid. It's your time to shine. I mean, yeah, Nakobe, even when he was on the field, I mean, he didn't really wow anybody. He was a serviceable starter, but he's got everything right lined up for him to succeed with the coaching and the players that are here, and and his dad pushing him, and we're all on board with him. I mean, we all wanted him here, and it's a great story, but
they filled fucking holes this draft, man. Jesus,
they so did, and it's incredible that they got everybody that they wanted to get. I mean, it's just wild, and the icing on the cake will be when he walks on the field wearing his dad's number.
Yeah.
When he straps on that 54, that's going to hit a little bit different.
Yeah.
Jesus. But the guy,
junior baby.
The thing that surprised me the most about this draft, though, is that they don't take an offensive lineman until the end of the 5th round. But the kid that they draft from Michigan,
it's fucking huge.
He's fucking enormous.
Huge,
and he's really good.
You talk about a guy who's a multi-year captain, right? On a national championship team. He is, you're talking about 6'5" and a half, 315 pounds, just a big boy, and a guy that I'm looking at that could, be in the battle for that guard spot. He's a guy that could absolutely battle Tyler Steen for that starting guard spot. Unless we talk about another guy in a little bit, because there's another guy that Howie decided to bring in.
Did you see the jersey that Keegan wore to his?
Go ahead, Rich, because this was great.
The fucking Deshaun Jackson jersey. Let's go.
He's from
middle school. He said,
"Yeah." It's a good thing. It's a good thing they only showed him from like the shoulder up.
I got to imagine there's got to be a picture of him like after the interview when he stands up and it's like
boy small.
Yeah,
it's like it's the medium.
I can't believe I got it on, guys. He's a big human being. He's a big human being.
Either he was an enormous middle schooler, or that was or he had 17 people squeezing him into that jersey.
I just don't understand how a captain, offensive lineman from the national championship team goes at what, 6th round, and the 5th,
172 in the 5th round. Yeah,
like that's what I'm saying. The draft was so fucked. Like I feel like we got value at every turn, and even if he's a project, stout than you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get your pad and pen, baby. Welcome down.
If there's
they take another guy in the 6th round, Dylan McMahon, who's a kid at NC State who played both guard spots and center. I think anybody that you're putting in that position to be in that room, and learn from Jeff Stoutland, that's a win.
You missed a pick.
But the guy that Rich, the guy I think you wanted to is this the guy you want to talk about? Johnny Wilson.
He's fucking huge.
Yeah. Johnny Wilson. Who
good God,
have the he will drop passes.
Yeah, he will.
Good
I hate
Lord.
his name.
But if he can
he's 6'6" and a half.
Yeah.
And 230. He's a big boy.
Dude. That's Mike Evans-esque.
And when I saw that, my immediate thought was like, is that a guy that they just like slide inside and slot him in and play him at tight end? Because he's got the body frame to be able to do it.
They most likely are going to put him in a tight end. I would see that 1,000%.
It wouldn't surprise me, but everything that they were talking about were like, no, they want to see him on the outside.
They think that's most of his experience. So they said they from what they said, they say now he's too athletic to be tight end. Which
All right.
I mean, okay, yeah. If we can,
Whatever.
we can figure out the whole drop situation, we might have a guy who can give us a little bit of something.
You can fix, and that's coaching. The concentration stuff, yeah. I mean, you coach that up. I mean, you might have the yips, but again, that's concentration. Like, get this guy's fucking head in the game. I just can't believe I looked at his fucking stats and I looked at him like, he's fucking 6'6", 230. I'm like, good God.
Yeah.
That's a big motherfucker. I'm like, I don't want to. Like, who's covering him? Himself. If he drops passes, it'll be himself.
When you look at the guy, right? They start the draft with 8 picks. They pick 9 guys, and they also stock a third, a fourth, and a fifth for next year's draft.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be a deeper draft because now you don't have that whole extra pool of guys.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that this draft doesn't end up wildly successful. Like, we look back on this in the next couple years and look at contributions up and down this draft. Maybe not the odds that you're going to get contributions from every draft pick, right, is not realistic. But I think it's realistic that you've got at least 4 or 5 guys on this list that we just talked about.
Yeah.
That are going to be contributing players in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, at least 3 of them, right? At least 3 of them. You're going to see that you're going to see it from Mitchell. You're going to see it from DeJohn, and then Trotter or Keegan are like going to be those guys. You know, Shipley, yeah, running back will carve out a role. Hopefully the Hunt guy, he might just be like one of those project pieces. You rotate him in a little bit, but you just kind of like, you want to redshirt him his first year just because you want to make sure that he has the intangibles and he's not doing anything like Derek Barnett. But then Derek Barnett wants to be an all-pro with the Texans because the fucking Eagles can't coach him up. I'm sorry. PTSD just kicks in. Defensive ends were supposed to be really good. But yeah, I mean, you're going to see it, Don. And I agree. I think this draft was an A++. I think they hit it out of the park. To get the guys, every single guy that you wanted, and no panic. Everybody sitting there. Like, I watched it with my boys. You guys, you were watching it. And it's just like, everybody was like, all right. Like, yeah, I'm comfortable with that. Like, it wasn't one of those picks where you're like Quinyon Mitchell. It was like, okay, yeah, this guy's going to be fucking good. It wasn't like one of those, oh, yeah, we're so fucking pumped. But it's like, take the time. Just take the time. Do your research. Look at the guy, and you're like, fuck, this dude's good. Like, This is fucking awesome. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see. And, there's always an undrafted free agent out there that we're going to get our hands on to try to make ourselves something. So I'm excited to see the upcoming weeks and see what's going to be happening.
I love it. Well, listen, Joe, then the big news, the guy I know you want to talk about.
Oh,
they bring in Mekhi Becton.
The big boy. The big boy.
has had his fair share of injuries, right? But when you thought the offensive line was big, then it got bigger because you're bringing in a guy who, from all statistics that I'm looking at, is in the 6'7", 6'8", 350 range.
6'7", 364.
Is he bigger than Mailata?
6'7", 364.
Yeah, and let's look at Mailata.
And
right there with Mailata.
So I'm going to pull this up real quick.
Is 6'8", 366.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Sheesh. But you look at these guys. You look at this line.
He's fucking 25.
Yeah,
and
the deal is, I don't know what the base
5.
Well, I think the max he can make is 5.5. Is 5 the base? Something like that. Either way, it's $5 million for potentially a starter for the next.
He's going to be he'll be 26, or he just turned 25.
Right. So it's low risk, it's high reward, and you have the best offensive line coach in football. So if the guy can't figure it out here, then you know that the guy's probably just not salvageable. But if there's anybody that's going to pull it out of him, it'll be Stoutland.
Yeah.
You're looking at it, if this is one of those things where it's like, if you can't do it here, then you can't fucking do it anywhere.
He was the
His
11th overall pick in 2020.
I mean, his big thing is going to be health, right? Can he stay healthy? That's the reason why the Jets passed and decided to move on, because the Jets weren't in a position to just give away somebody, and they said bye-bye. But I'm looking at the opportunity to all according to the report that I saw from Jeff Mosher today, that they're expected to slide him in and try him out at guard. And now I'm imagining a line
that's giants.
That is going to include Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata on the outside, Landon Dickerson and Mekhi Becton at guard, and Cam Jurgens at center. Like, you're talking about just an enormous pile of humans. And you guys want to take a guess at the total weight of all 5 guys?
Has to be over 1,500 pounds.
1650.
1674.
Jesus Christ.
That's just an enormous fucking pile of people right there.
Much. That's so much.
Oh my God.
Dude,
it's an average weight of 335 pounds.
So are you saying that the tush push is still going to work?
Yeah.
Oh, well, listen, you've also got Saquon Barkley, who's got the quad. You got the quad squad, the quad squad in the background.
There you go.
Like,
jeez.
At this point, you might as well just line up and do the fucking tush push every goddamn time.
Don't run any other plays.
First and 10, tush push. Second and 2, tush push. Just tush push our way down the field.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I also don't have much faith in Robert Saleh as a functioning head coach. I think he's a fucking moron. And let's be real. How do you have that good of a defense and your offense is always atrocious? Regardless of Zach Wilson, your offense is always fucking terrible. You're not a good coach. So letting Becton go, he's 25. You didn't want to pay him, whatever. But he's fucking 25. Right. It's not his fault he's getting injured. Like, shit fucking happens. But like you said, they weren't in any position. They cut him. Well, thank you for that, because Robert Saleh can't coach his way out of a fucking paper bag. Welcome to Stoutland U. Sign up and sit down in your class. Blocking 101 is now in session, motherfuckers. And it's Dallas 101. That's the second class. We'll take that on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30 at the NovaCare complex. I teach that class. So if you want to come to fuck Dallas, there you go. It's right there. It's just it's all good things the past few days with the Eagles, and it's really good. It's just really good to see. And I have high hopes and for these upcoming prospects and the upcoming years. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I love it. I love it. Talk a little bit about the draft.
Michael Penix, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, dude, that pick made no fucking sense.
Did you see when what the hell is his name? When the owner walked up.
Blank walked up.
See, I'm drawing a blank on blank.
Yeah, drawing a blank on blank.
Walked up to the GM, was like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. And he conned him into like it was all right. He's like, yeah, it's good. And then it goes, he had Arthur Blank's blessing. Motherfucker, you just spent $100 million of your owner's money on this dude, and you got the blessing to draft a 25-year-old backup who has torn rotator cuff in his throwing, separated non-throwing, 2 ACL surgeries. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
He starts after Kirk Cousins' contract expires. He's 29 before he takes his first snaps.
So dumb. And who's is their backup? Heineke?
Yeah, the backup's Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke's their backup. I guess they didn't need any other positions, and they had no other positions to need.
Nah, they signed Darnell Mooney to $1 billion contract.
20 a year?
Yeah, like $30 million. That's fucking
outrageous.
Like the guy, like if I'm Atlanta right? And I'm just going to look at a couple of guys that were picked after them, right? The guy that got picked directly after him at 9, Roman Doomsday. Like you could have put him, like you could have picked him,
would have loaded up
and put him. You put him and Bijan Robinson and
Drake London, Kyle Pitts,
and you now are giving and you're doing it with a really good quarterback. At least, well, pause.
He's not
Sorry.
really good.
Let me rewind the tape a little bit. A competent quarterback.
Yeah, there you go.
Good, Don. Good.
You give him you give him weapons like that, and he can be. He's shown you that he can be a productive leader in your offense. But like the fact that like that pick to me is a pick that is going to have people. It's going to have people in Atlanta kind of screaming for him to play earlier than the organization is going to want. I just that to me made absolutely no sense. And the
Brock Bowers going to fucking Oakland.
Yeah.
Sorry, Don. Sorry.
It must now. Listen,
boy,
Rich,
Don,
there's no friction up top, so
no
literally
friction.
the thoughts are going in this screen and out of the screen. Because the next guy I was going to say was, the fuck are the Raiders doing with Brock Bowers? Like
and Michael Mayer.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Like, you don't have a fucking quarterback. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't like draft one of these fucking bums. But you still don't have a quarterback. Like, and then you draft Brock Bowers. Okay, I get it. You're loading up on offense, but you need somebody to get him the rock. That's not happening. That's just fucking dumb. That is bad.
Who's the running back?
Zamir White.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. They didn't get it. Yeah, they didn't do anything. I mean, my biggest surprise was Dallas Turner going to the Jags. I thought he would have hung on there.
Vikings.
He went to the Vikings. I'm sorry, from the Jags.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah, because my guy went to the Colts at 15, Don.
Yeah, Ludu.
Yeah.
Bro, he has no neck. He was told to medically fucking retire, dog.
I thought he was cleared.
They told him 2 years ago to medically retire, and he just came back. He's like, fucking, I'm coming back. He is fucking, whatchamacallit, times 2.0. Fucking Leighton Vander Esch 2.0.
Oh, God.
Yeah. At the draft thing, it said on the screen, was told to medically retire. Took 2 years off and came back. And was a beast with sacks. That dude gets hit on the neck, he's dead.
Yeah.
What's up, Adam?
The guy that I had my eye on as the picks started coming in and getting closer to 22 was Chop and Jared Verse. Those are two guys that I would have been all in on.
Yeah.
If they were available, that would have been interesting to see which direction they would have went. Like if one of those two guys was on the board with both the corners. Now I don't think that would have been the case, right? I think if those guys are on the board, then the corners aren't. But I would have been curious to see what direction they would have went if you had to pick between Quinion Mitchell and Jared Verse, or you had to pick between Terran Arnold and Chop Robinson and Jared Verse. Like if you had those three guys on the board, what they would have done. But Jared Verse is a wildly athletic kid who's probably going to go in and assume the role of Aaron Donald and really try to do what he was doing off the edge. I love where they're at. The Chop Robinson pick too in Miami is a good pick.
Yeah, they needed to replace the guys they lost, so it makes sense because they lost Wilkerson, so they needed to replace him. So that's smart. Dallas being Dallas, I fucking love that. Dallas could have stayed put and took Graham Barton, but they fucking take Tyler Guyton. Like you need multiple positions besides left tackle, but you take literally a project guy without having a fucking offensive line coach as good as Jeff Stout, and you don't take projects. Like Guyton's good, but I would have took Graham Barton, and they fucking traded. They traded with the cat. They traded with the fucking the Lions back.
Stupid.
They do it every year. They're fucking dumb.
Well, they don't. Who's going to be their quarterback after this year?
Dak?
Yeah. You think they're going to keep Dak?
I think they have to.
Jerry Jones is going to pay him 60 plus.
Bro, you got to do something. You have. You can't.
You know what though? You know what?
You're too late to start over. They can't start.
What's going to keep them in the mix, Rich?
No, Zeke, bro.
They brought back Zeke.
That fucking.
Jesus Christ!
I'm so excited. It makes me laugh.
Listen, I could listen on Monday morning when my kid's bus driver pulled up, and you know my kid's bus driver. He's.
Did you laugh at him?
I literally was like.
Hey, Parzival.
Good morning. Like how you have a draft where you pass on a position of need. I just don't get. I don't know how you have a position of need that bad and you choose to not address it at all. It's just wild.
Yeah.
Just wild. But you look at the Chiefs being the Chiefs.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy. We're all right.
Trading up and just add speed on speed on speed. Yep. Another guy that you can just tell to just run down the field and let Patrick Mahomes just throw the ball.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill 2.0.
Yo, what the fuck is San Fran drafting the white boy for? Ricky Pearsall.
Oh, Ricky Pearsall.
The fuck did that guy do with Florida? Nothing. Sucked.
Nothing.
So fucking strange, dude. I don't know. I'm waiting for the downfall of all these fucking teams.
I think Debo's on the block.
Well, I mean that was in the conversation, right? The Debo and Ayuk.
Debo's a fucking terrible wide receiver, and Brandon Ayuk, they don't have money to pay, and he's upset. Well, have fun. And then you still have to pay Brock. Good luck. Pay Brock a fucking crap ton of money. Get rid of your whole fucking team.
I'm waiting on it. Rich, out of all these guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so
Attaboy. Cheers, Parzival.
Nice.
Cheers.
Love it. Love it. I love it. Love it. Cheers from Germany. Rich, I'm going to go something that's near and dear to your heart. Of all these guys, talk to me from a fantasy perspective.
Oh, fantasy? So it's so hard because, we have our dynasty draft coming up. Obviously, 101, you're going to take Marvin Harrison. I mean, that's the sure guy you're going to do. It doesn't matter because it's Kyler Murray. You take him 101. Right. I had the number 2 pick, and I'm torn, to be honest with you. I'm torn between Neighbors and Xavier Worthy at this point because I kind of want to take Worthy. He's more the Deshaun Jackson type, but also better quarterback play for the rest of his career. So who do I want to go with? But it's honestly this year is kind of like a crapshoot. You're going to draft the necessities, but you're going to see the guys. Caleb Williams, in a dynasty. In our league, not really necessary to go first round, maybe second round because it's only a 1 quarterback league. Everybody has quarterbacks unless you want to stash him or hope he's that good. But you're taking Marvin Harrison, 101, and then you're just going to go on a wide receiver run. It's just interesting to see what's going to be at the 102 spot between Malik Neighbors and Worthy because I think those are your best options. I like Aduzier, but he's fighting with DJ Moore and whatchamacallit now, Keenan Allen, and for targets. He's going to be really good. It's just I don't think this year's his year, but he's a great stash and go guy. So I don't know really much about the running backs that were really drafted this year because all of them were second or third round guys.
I mean, I was going to say
but none of them scream bell cow, and none of them ended up in good situations that you would want to draft in the first round. It's going to be wide receivers off the board all day.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean that to me was wild to see how long it took for running backs to get off the board, just in the draft in general, to see how devalued that position is and how much that wide receiver position has been elevated. it's just it's wild to see how dramatically effective is there any guy that got picked late, Rich? Any guy that's like not a top of the draft guy?
No, not really. I mean, it's
Okay.
once you get past, it's so hard, dude. Like once you get past like those certain picks, it's all a fucking gamble. It's
Yeah.
You're what I'm going to go through is when I'm drafting, I'm going to look and see who has the least amount of competition and who is put in the right circumstance. I love Marvin Harrison. Would I take him number one? You have to. Do I think Kyler Murray sucks? Yeah. Is their offensive line terrible? Yeah. But you're going to go talent and hope, right? And hope.
Mhm.
That's why I don't like Neighbors. I'm not drafting the guy who's going to the fucking Daniel Jones. I'd rather at that spot, I'm taking Worthy. And everybody's going to be like, well, why the fuck should you do that? Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
is
like
the
this,
reason I'm doing this. I can't wait 3 years for fucking their what do you call Neighbors to be good. I just can't do it.
For the same reason that I think people will shy away from Brock Bowers, right? Because you're talking about this, especially for the like, is it a guy that you want to stash? Absolutely. But a guy that you're going to get production out of this year, not with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew.
No. Two guys who don't like tight ends.
And Zamir White. Like you're
it's going to be rough.
The only guy on that offense that you got to worry about is Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
So the Brock Bowers is going to get a ton of attention. It's just not a guy that you would think going into the draft that would have been a guy that would have gotten a lot of attention, productive, like, and it's just the situation just didn't make any sense. It would have made more sense for the Raiders to draft a quarterback at that spot than it would have been to draft Brock Bowers.
Draft a tight end. It was very dumb. Or they could have loaded up on defense, but that was just dumb. Why you drafted a rookie fucking tight end last year who's really good. Now you're drafting another one. How many 2 tight end sets are you going to fucking run? Like it was so stupid. It was so stupid. But that's the Raiders. The Raiders going to Raider.
That would have been a team I would have thought would have reached and taken Penix.
Yeah, I could have. They
absolutely.
Apparently, they tried to trade up into the the earlier picks, but nobody was fucking biting on anything. Well, I guess nobody wanted Jimmy G.
So many bad rookie quarterbacks.
It's going to be awful watching some of these rookie quarterbacks play. JJ McCarthy is going to be fucking ass, and I'm here for it. I'm here for all the Vikings fans and all the Vikings people. This is my final thought. I'm just going to let you know. If you want to segment, this is going to be my final thought. I am fucking here for all you crybaby skull pussies who fucking laughed at us for Jalen Reagor. Oh, look at us. We got Justin Jefferson. You're wasting Justin Jefferson's fucking prime. You're going to be paying him $60 fucking million to appease him because you have JJ McCarthy for the next 5 years who's going to throw nothing but fucking picks and can't throw a fucking timing route because he's always running out of the fucking pocket. You got a quarterback who cannot run a fucking pro offense and has to be constantly moving. You're a fucking joke organization. Fuck the Skull, fuck the Vikings, and fuck JJ McCarthy. You guys laughed at us for Jalen Reagor. It hit me in my feels because I wanted Justin Jefferson. But, you're wasting his fucking prime. Justin Jefferson, 11 catches for 210 yards and a touchdown. You lost 42 to fucking 6. Fuck you.
Joe, what do you got? Final thoughts?
I think I'm just going to leave.
Oh, good.
No.
Joe's like, all right, guys, great.
May, just quick shout out. May is Mental Health Month. Just wanted to reach out for guys like Jay and anybody else who's going through anything. Thinking about you all for this month. And then another little side thing. Shout out, and I don't really like doing this for Josh Harris, but I'm just gonna do it this once. Shout out to Josh Harris and Mike Rubin and some of those other guys for buying up a couple of those tickets for. I think it's like 2,000 tickets for tomorrow night's Sixers game for nurses and doctors and people, first responders so it doesn't wind up in the hands of those freaking lousy Knicks fans.
It's a fucking tax write-off. Don't get it fooled.
Still,
I think
Precious money.
That was something that I saw today, Joe, that I immediately thought about, that they're not that they're just buying them up, but that they're buying them up. They're going to give them away to to people in certain lines of work that, for whatever reason, sometimes catch a lot of shit. So, shout out to those guys. Also, the quotes that came out of the AJ Brown presser and his the shit that he caught last year about not being a leader, and talk about a guy who's now doing it all. He's going to let all the talking happen on the field. I just the leadership qualities that I saw from him, the quotes that came out of that press conference, really just kind of spoke about a guy that is really determined to really move the needle in that position. And he knows he's the highest paid wide receiver, but he knows that mantle is going to get out. It'll get outbid at some point. Yeah. But I'm really looking at where he can take that and elevate that leadership role on a team that's going to need leadership if they want to get where they got to go. So, listen,
fucking Titans.
On the way out.
Fucking Titans. Well, we're drunk on broad. I'm Rich. That's Don. And that's Joe. Thanks for joining us today. But as always, fuck Dallas. Fuck J.J. McCarthy and the Viking scumbags. Fuck Deshaun Watson. Fuck Davion Taylor. I'm glad we didn't draft him again. And yeah, if you're not an Eagles fan, then fuck you too. Because we bad boy for life. We're drunk on broad. Love you, Philly.
Later, skaters.
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
Go Birds!